Good morning, AKLEY.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Good day, good
Good.
day. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Bonjour,
Yeah, man, it's nice to be here as well.
ça fait plaisir d'être ici aussi.
Just one element of translation, AKLEY. We will translate everything thanks to Patricio from English to French. So please, let's try to make short sentences so that it will be easier for him to translate.
Okay, understood.
Ouais. Donc pour le souci de la traduction, il serait nécessaire de faire une petite pause entre chaque intervention afin que le traducteur puisse faire son travail.
So AKLEY, please maybe just to start with your project, can you explain us about the context of indigenous population in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, about Kalinargo, Garifuna, Caribs? Can you explain us a little bit?
Yeah. So,
Wait, please.
Tout d'abord, je souhaiterais te poser des questions, enfin vous poser des questions sur le projet, sur la situation à Saint-Vincent-des-Grenadines des populations indigènes telles que les Kalinago et les
Garifuna
Garifuna,
Caraïbes.
Les Caraïbes.
Okay. Well, the Kalinago were the version of the Taino that were on the island indigenously, like before Columbus and before the colonization. There is a story that was given to us about Africans surviving a shipwreck and being welcomed into Kalinago communities, which created one of the first syncretic Caribbean peoples, which is the Garifuna.
Yep, please, let's...
Donc les Kalinago sont un peuple issu de la communauté Taino qui vivait à la base sur l'île avant la colonisation. Il y a une histoire qui nous a été donnée par Saint-Vincent-les-Grenadines à propos d'une épave d'où serait issue la première communauté métissée Kalinago de l'île.
Please, AKLEY, you can go on.
So, when the English came, before there was a relationship between the Kalinago and the French, Kalinago, the Garifuna, and the French, because the French are actually the first colonial powers that came to the island. The first town on the island was set up by the French, and then the world changed, and the English decided that they wanted the island and that they wanted to exterminate the local population.
Alors, avant que les Anglais n'arrivent sur l'île, les premières relations qui ont eu lieu entre les Kalinago et les colons étaient avec les Français. Les Français ont implanté la première colonie sur l'île, mais plus tard, ce monde a changé. Les Anglais ont souhaité reprendre l'île aux Français et ils ont décidé d'exterminer les populations locales.
So the Garifuna were among the fiercest of the fighters, the ones who resisted this colonial attempt that was very violent, because the English came, they came with guns right away. And so the Garifuna were defeated and exiled, but there were some spaces, some villages, in the mountains that survived. And this story is about a young guy who's descended from one of those villages, but because of the 100 years of colonial, 200 years of colonial history we have, he doesn't know anything about this history. He doesn't know anything beyond the colonial slavery narrative. Yeah.
Yeah.
Les Garifuna donc étaient une population de combattants. Ils ont fait face à la colonisation des Anglais qui a été très violente. Les Anglais étaient arrivés avec des fusils sur l'île afin d'exterminer les Garifuna. Les Garifuna ont donc été battus et ont été forcés à l'exil, mais dans certains villages, certains ont résisté. Donc l'histoire que je raconte à travers ce film, c'est l'histoire d'un homme qui est issu de cette communauté, mais qui ne connaît pas son histoire en raison des 200 ans de colonisation.
And in your story, in your pitch, you start with a dream, which seems to be like a metaphor of the situation you are in, haunted by something in between, because you're saying that you became an artist maybe thanks to English images, but you understand it's not your culture.
Yes, I completely
wait a second.
understand that.
Wait a second, please, for translation.
Donc, d'après l'histoire de votre film commence par un rêve qui est une métaphore de votre vie. Vous paraissez hanté par votre carrière d'artiste. Vous dites être devenu artiste grâce à l'anglais, tandis que ce n'est pas votre culture d'origine.
Yeah. So I understand that, you know, I'm a transcultural individual because the language I speak and the education I have comes from a colonizing force that came to my island. So I understand myself within that, but I also understand the need to know more about who I actually am and where I came from. You see, across the island there are these petroglyphs, you know, drawings etched in stone. And there isn't much explanation as to why they're there or what they mean.
Yeah, wait. Okay, thanks.
Ouais. Donc j'ai bien conscience d'être issu d'une culture métissée, mais également que la langue que je parle et la culture dont je proviens est issue de la colonisation. Toutefois, j'ai eu envie de savoir un peu plus sur qui j'étais et sur la communauté d'où je viens, notamment à travers les pétroglyphes qui sont sur l'île sur Saint-Vincent et Grenadines, sur lesquels nous n'avons aucune information.
But that's very interesting because you are an artist, you make images, and they are images from your ancestors. And as we understand the film, it's a dialogue also between you and those images. Am I right?
Donc, vous êtes un artiste, vous créez des images. Il y a évidemment des images de vos ancêtres, mais c'est également, ce film représente également un dialogue entre vous et vos ancêtres.
That's exactly what it is. The film is a journey that is told through images. It's a confrontation with the images that has created the Caribbean that both you and I know, you know, the Caribbean that is publicized and marketed. And the film attempts to show the relationship between, I mean, I guess the Caribbean today, which is touristic, and, you know, it attempts to connect it to its bohemian origins, you know, on the plantation.
Okay. Donc exactement, donc le film est un voyage, un voyage. Il dépeint la confrontation des différentes cultures caribéennes. Il fait notamment le parallèle entre l'image des Caraïbes aujourd'hui, qui est médiatisée, le côté touristique, mais également il essaie de créer une connexion avec le passé.
Yeah, you want to go behind images also.
Yes.
Beyond images, beyond clichés that we can have about.
Vous voulez aller au-delà des clichés, au-delà des images.
Yes, because the reality is that like right now on the island, the clichés are informing the reality, and we are kind of reproducing them. And little by little, we begin to disconnect from some of the more indigenous aspects, some of the small things that we remember, and also the oral stories. You know, people, young people, and you know, older people too are not paying attention to it because you're so consumed in, you know, the global culture that exists, you know, Netflix and all of these things. So it's an attempt to preserve the heritage of a small place.
Alors, actuellement, la réalité dans les Caraïbes cherche se déconnecte un peu des aspects originels des Caraïbes. La plupart des histoires du passé, beaucoup de gens y font de moins en moins attention, notamment en raison de la culture mondialisée dans laquelle nous vivons. Voilà.
So it's a journey you want to bring us in, but not only us, foreign audiences, also your people, as I understand.
Donc, c'est un voyage dans lequel vous voulez nous emmener, mais également votre peuple.
Yes, so there are survivors of this. Well, we call on the island, we call it a genocide. There are some survivors who were exiled to certain parts of Latin America, you know, which is the core of the Garifuna communities. And in those communities, they remember some of the things that existed on this island 200 years ago. So the film is a journey into those communities and back to St. Vincent to create a dialogue. And also, it's important to create a dialogue with Europe, with England and France, because there is also a stake in it for everyone. At the end of the day, the hope is to present a new image of blackness that comes from within the island, but on the other side of the beach, on where people actually live. It's about, in a way, it's about going back to nature, which is something that we saw a necessity for during COVID. The necessity to go back to traditional medicines, food, etc.
Yeah.
Donc,
Translation.
il existe des survivants à ce que nous appelons chez nous le génocide, comme dans plusieurs communautés d'Amérique latine. Dans ces communautés d'Amérique latine, il y a plusieurs personnes qui se souviennent de ces 200 ans de colonisation, de ce qui s'est passé il y a 200 ans. Donc le but de ce film est de créer un dialogue avec l'Europe, la France et l'Angleterre, afin de véhiculer un message pour tout le monde et de créer également une nouvelle image de la communauté noire, mais également aussi de donner un message de retour vers la nature qui a été notamment très nécessaire lors de la crise du Covid.
Maybe, please, AKLEY, can you tell us how will this journey start? Where is your starting point?
Alors, je souhaiterais savoir où a commencé ce voyage.
The journey starts when our protagonist decides to confront this reoccurring dream, and he decides to confront it by doing the only thing he knows, which is to draw the images that he sees, when he goes to sleep.
Alors, le voyage commence avec le protagoniste qui se confronte avec ce rêve récurrent. Donc, ce que le protagoniste fait, c'est qu'il dessine les images de ce rêve.
So these images force him to confront, some of his insecurities and fears, and it leads him to an admission of his big trauma, which is the fact that he grew up without the father.
Alors, ces images forcent le personnage à se confronter à ses insécurités et à accepter le traumatisme qu'il a subi, notamment le fait d'avoir grandi sans son père.
So it's really something that comes inside of you that will be the trigger for the journey.
Donc c'est cet aspect qui vient de votre fort intérieur qui est le déclenchement de l'histoire.
Yes. So he finds a strong connection between the absence of fathers within his community, within his life, because at the end of the day, he's not, like, he represents the reality of people like him on the island. So it's not that his case is a one-off. And his father comes from a village where these petroglyphs are present. So for him, the absence of a father has a direct relation to, the colonial legacy. So he wonders what it would have been like if his father was in his life, and what it would have been like if he didn't have this colonial story that tells him his heritage comes from slavery.
Donc, il fait la connexion entre l'absence de père et l'absence de sens de communauté. Son père provient d'un village où sont présents justement ces pétroglyphes. Donc, il fait le lien entre l'absence de père et l'héritage colonial. Et il se pose la question à quoi ressemblait ma vie si j'avais eu un père et s'il n'y avait pas eu cet héritage colonial lié à l'esclavage.
Will your father be very present in the movie, because you don't talk much about him in the pitch? You were more talking about your mother, but then, as I understand, the relationship with your father through his village is a priority for you?
Donc, vous ne parlez pas beaucoup de votre père dans le film, plus de votre mère, mais cette relation avec votre père, est-ce qu'elle est plus importante dans le film?
So in a way, he accepts the absence of the father. He has lived and grown without it. His real goal is to pass on something to his children that is more than he had. So in finding out more about his father's village and his heritage beyond colonialism, he attempts to create a generational, like correct a generational wrong. So that's his way of well, emancipating and passing it on.
Donc il accepte, le personnage accepte l'absence de père, mais son but ultime est de passer et de la transmission à ses enfants. Il essaye d'en savoir plus à propos de son père et également à propos de l'héritage colonial afin de créer une nouvelle génération de jeunes. Donc le but est de s'émanciper mais également de transmettre.
So you plan to shoot in the village of your father because they are also petroglyphs. The link between your ancestors, the cultures, the images is through the village of your father, right?
Donc, vous avez l'intention de filmer dans le village de votre père car c'est là où sont les pétroglyphes.
Yes, that's the intention. Actually, I've already been filming, over the years. There's actually a heritage festival that happens in his village, and lots of people come back to the village as a sort of it's like a journey. It's a journey to remember and to commemorate and to celebrate freedom. So I've been filming. I have material already from this village.
Donc oui, d'ailleurs j'ai déjà commencé à filmer dans le village. D'ailleurs dans ce village il y a un festival de l'héritage qui attire beaucoup de gens dans le village. Et donc le voyage à travers ce film vise à commémorer et à célébrer la liberté.
That's an important place in the movie, but also another important place, it's Honduras, right? Have you already been there? Do you plan to go there to do location scouting? What is your relationship at the moment with Honduras?
Donc, un autre endroit important de l'histoire, c'est le Honduras. Est-ce que vous projetez de vous y rendre? Est-ce que vous avez déjà fait des recherches quant au lieu à filmer?
I had the opportunity to visit Honduras and Guatemala, both the communities, Sammo Creek and Livingston in Guatemala, both Garifuna communities. And I investigated, location scout, shot footage, connected with different personalities that that the story resonates with. And the truth is, I have a bit of material put together from both of these trips that sort of explains the story, but the intention is to go deeper,
Donc j'ai déjà eu l'opportunité d'aller au Honduras et au Guatemala où plusieurs communautés existent encore, notamment les Garafunas. J'ai déjà filmé plusieurs endroits, notamment créé des liens avec des personnes habitant sur place. Enfin, ces lieux et ces personnes qui résonnent avec l'histoire du film. J'ai d'ailleurs un meilleur film, de meilleurs extraits à partir de ces voyages, mais mon intention est d'aller encore plus loin.
Yeah, so anyway, your film is not shot. You have images, you have footage, but the idea is really to make it with a proper team once you will have producers in board and so on, right?
Donc pour l'instant, votre film n'est pas tourné, vous n'avez que des images, mais le but est de le filmer avec une équipe en tant que telle.
No, the film is not shot. The idea is to get a team, a professional team, to create, to shoot, and to edit the film. What we have is references and ideas about the aesthetic we want to explore. Yeah, I think that's it.
Ok, donc pour l'instant le film n'est pas encore tourné, mais notre intention est de trouver une équipe de professionnels pour le tourner et le monter. Mais nous avons déjà des idées de l'esthétique du film.
Do I understand right? Please go ahead.
The other thing that is very important is that the filming requires us to sort of create a calendar of very specific dates and events that happens in the communities. So, there are different rituals and festivals that the people do to keep this memory alive, and the goal will be to be a part of that in a sort of chronological way.
Donc, une autre chose importante, c'est que la création de ce film nous demandera de respecter un calendrier très strict afin de suivre les événements qui auront lieu dans les différentes communautés que nous voulons filmer, des rituels et des festivals qui visent à maintenir cette culture vivante.
Okay. Do I understand right that there is a strong element for you in learning the language?
Donc, est-ce que nous avons bien compris que un des aspects importants de ce film, c'est aussi d'apprendre la langue?
How will you film this process?
Comment allez-vous filmer ce procédé?
At the moment, there are workshops happening in Honduras in different communities where you could go and be a part of a language learning workshop. I've already participated in one that came to St. Vincent. The goal will be to enroll myself in the workshop and I guess capture some moments, you know, some words, important words, but then the idea would be to allow the development and the learning of the language to unfold across the segments shot in Central America. So when we get to the end of the film, the character is sort of transformed and has, you know, he could express himself through this voiceover that he has. He could change from English to Garifuna. You see, in St. Vincent, they created laws to outlaw the language, to ban people from speaking it. So the idea of learning it is really to bring home a new world would be to learn that language.
Okay, wait a second for translation, please.
Donc il y a des ateliers au Honduras dans différentes communautés, des ateliers d'apprentissage de cette langue. J'ai déjà participé à des ateliers à Saint-Vincent pour ma part. J'ai réussi à capter quelques mots, quelques idées, mais le but premier serait de développer la langue. Et j'aimerais également qu'à la fin du film, le personnage puisse s'exprimer dans cette langue, basculer de l'anglais à cette langue originelle. Et sachant que les Anglais, lors de la colonisation, les Anglais ont interdit l'usage de cette langue, donc ça permettrait d'apporter quelque chose de nouveau à cette communauté.
Yeah, I see that you expect actually a lot of transformation of the main character, which is you.
Yeah.
Maybe being a father, let's see. The language, bringing the culture back to your people. Do I understand right?
Donc le but est d'apporter une transformation importante au personnage principal, qui est vous-même, notamment en devenant un père et en apportant cette culture.
Yes, that's the idea. The idea is to go through a full transformation and to present the journey as sort of spiritual, if you get me. So that one of the other things, one of the ways of learning the culture or learning the language is through these songs that the people remember. So there will be possibilities cinematically to use, you know, like musical sequences and you know, and drumming and, you know, the other instruments that are part of how they express this memory. So I think, you know, there's lots of opportunities for a character to build not only themselves in the mind, in the conversation in the mind, but also visually.
Donc la transformation donc, se passera par ce voyage spirituel. Donc il est également possible d'apprendre la langue à travers la musique, à travers les chansons. Je souhaiterais donc que le personnage puisse apprendre cette langue à travers l'utilisation de la musique. Et j'aimerais utiliser dans le film des séquences musicales de percussions et d'autres instruments. Donc c'est une bonne opportunité d'achever ce voyage spirituel.
And your art, as an artist, your drawings might also express this change.
Donc, en tant qu'artiste, vos dessins visent aussi à exprimer ce changement.
Yes, the story starts with interpretations of a dream through drawings, and drawings run through the entire way as he makes his reflections and observations of, you know, what he sees, and in a way, his drawing book becomes the magical device that sort of captures the moments.
Donc, L'histoire donc passe à travers le rêve et les dessins. Et le rêve et les dessins restent présents tout au long du film. Et le dessin est vu comme un outil magique qui permet de capter cette culture.
Do you already have an idea about how the film could finish?
Est-ce que vous avez une idée de comment le film pourrait se terminer?
Well, one of my ideas is to explore creating a relationship between the grandchild and my father, the grandfather, and exploring what that could mean for everybody's act in a sort of, in a sort of reconciliation kind of way, So that's what I was thinking.
Donc, une des idées, ce serait d'imaginer une relation entre le petit-fils et le grand-père qui pourrait signifier une sorte de réconciliation des générations.
Yeah, I think we understand what you meant by spiritual.
Donc on comprend ce que vous voulez dire par spirituel.
Time is running. Maybe AKLEY, do you have anything else shortly that you want to add?
Est-ce que vous voulez ajouter quelque chose?
So St. Vincent and the Grenadines, this island is the island where Pirates of the Caribbean was filmed, 1, 2, and 3. The island doesn't really have a cinematic industry, and this is the first time something like this is happening. I don't know if you remember the scenes in, I think it's Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where Johnny Depp was captured by the natives. Those natives were my ancestors, and in the film they were portrayed as cannibals. The production came, and there were people here who advocate for indigenous rights, but the production happened anyway. And we continued a sort of regurgitation of the colonial images of the island and the island's people. I would like to confront that and give my people, myself, the opportunity to share our story in our voice.
Donc Saint-Vincent.
And I'd like you to be a part of it.
Yeah, wait.
Donc Saint-Vincent et Grenadines est l'île où ont été tournés les films de Pirates des Caraïbes 1, 2 et 3. Sur l'île même, il n'y a pas vraiment d'industrie cinématographique. Donc ce film représenterait une première opportunité pour cette industrie nouvelle. Donc je ne sais pas si vous vous souvenez de la scène où Johnny Depp se fait capturer par les natifs qui sont représentés comme des cannibales. Il y a eu lors de la production des mouvements activistes, mais le film a quand même été tourné. Donc mon souhait à travers ce film est de donner une voix à mon peuple.
Yeah, we understand your point, and that's really what we want to support. Maybe quickly, a little word about production. You have your own company, Island Rebel Media, right?
Donc,
yes,
un petit mot sur la production, vous avez votre propre maison de production.
Yes, I have my own company registered in St. Vincent Island Rebel Media. We are a film multimedia production company, and we're very interested in developing stories about the indigenous past on the island to preserve the culture, which is where this idea comes from.
Donc oui, j'ai bien ma maison de production à Saint-Vincent et Grenadines. C'est une maison de production multimédia et notre but est de filmer des films sur le passé indigène afin de préserver cette culture.
And you're looking for co-producers, international co-producers?
Vous cherchez des coproducteurs internationaux?
Yes, I am. I'm looking for international co-producers to join with me to bring this story to the screen, because I think the world deserves a fresh new story about things we're familiar with, but being told in a different way, from a perspective that's a little bit more authentic and on the ground.
Donc oui, absolument, je cherche des coproducteurs internationaux afin d'apporter ces histoires à l'écran. Notre but est de créer de nouvelles histoires et des histoires plus originales.
Thank you very much, AKLEY.
Merci beaucoup.
Well done. Fessel is uploading. I will introduce you to Fessel. He's a producer from Benin. He's just making some comments that he's uploading your performance as a pitch. So well done.
Donc Fessel vous applaudit. Bravo.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Fessel,
Merci
and
beaucoup.
thank you for the opportunity to share. And I look forward to hearing more from whoever is interested.
Merci de l'opportunité que vous m'avez donnée et merci à tous.
Yes, we will organize individual meetings. Merci à tous. On va Bye bye, AKLEY. See you tomorrow.
Have a great day. Bye bye.
Au revoir, à demain.